Okay, welcome everybody. Nancy Vandale, chairperson of the NCAC Bylaws Subcommittee, and I call the meeting to order at 9 o'clock. I have no conflicts. Can everybody please introduce themselves? And Tom, why don't you consider yourself a member of the, Tom too, why don't you consider yourself a member of the gang? You don't have to do a conflict, so go ahead and just participate.
Michael Beachley, no conflict.
Wyatt Angelo, no conflict.
Susan Schomburg, no conflict.
Oh,
Tom
Susan.
Tom Sipe, no conflict.
Thank you. And Tom Brohadich, I'll give you your official last name. And welcome, Mark. Mark Everett just joined us. So Susan, it sounds like you've cut Tom's cold.
Yes. So I'll put things in the chat.
Okay. Oh, poor thing. Thank you for joining us. Are you at least at home? Oh, no. It's awful to be sick and traveling even more at the same time. Welcome, Mark. We've just called the meeting to order. Glad you could join us. And we have Tom Brohadich here. So, Mark, please, got a small group. Please, obviously, feel free to chime in whenever. We're going to get through this. Hopefully, we won't take the full allotted 2.5 hours. But let me go to the agenda. So hopefully, I will not do my email this time. Okay. So we have quite a calendar, but basically we're going to go through the approval of minutes. My report, if Mark has any comments, you're welcome to make them, Mark, and then go into the PP&R's review and update, and then talk about the feedback session that we have planned for April 26th with the executive board, a key one, and then action items and summary. So we have quite a calendar here, and it's actually reduced because we've canceled, and thank you all for your concurrence to reduce the number of feedback sessions that we have. But I guess so we have an urgent membership meeting on middle housing to talk about on April 21st, executive board meeting on the 23rd, a special executive board meeting for PP&Rs on the 26th, membership meeting that's a special meeting to talk about the transient lodging tax ballot measure on the 29th, and bylaws subcommittee meeting on the 2nd, our next one. And then we go into our feedback sessions 2, and then we may not need 3. We'll talk about that at our next bylaws subcommittee meeting, and then another bylaws subcommittee meeting, and then feedback session number 4, which would be an overview before we go to the adoption meeting. Another executive board meeting, and then our special membership meeting to adopt the PP&Rs and some minor bylaws amendments. And then we're getting to the end of the year. I figure I just practically finish out the year. So any changes or additions to the agenda? Okay, hearing none, the agenda is approved. Okay, stop there. So going into my report, we've had quite an active week since we last met. We had a special bylaws subcommittee meeting on the 11th to kind of go in between the one on the 4th and the 18th because we had so much to do. And thank you all for joining us for those. So we do have an urgent membership meeting to talk about the community plan, the middle housing part of the community plan. And I hope you'll attend. There's a lot going on with the middle housing portion that's been basically excerpted from the community plan as a whole. Tom Sipe can talk more about that, but Tom Sipe is probably really glad we've postponed some of the feedback sessions. I don't know how you've done it, Tom. I really don't, with two plans that you're working on, but there's a lot in this document that the county has deadlines on that they've gotten from the state. So Tom Sipe, would you like to interject with what's going on there from your point of view, since you're on both subcommittees?
We we have been suffering really from late and incomplete information, mostly due to the consultants, I believe. For the middle housing, we have a deadline. I think it is the 24th that we're actually meant to submit our first round of reactions to the last document we've been given. What I did with that document was I created a Word document out of the PDF, and then we went through and made changes that we think are more compatible with what we had been talking about for the last, I don't know how many months. So it's a fairly rough transliteration of what they had. And what we plan to do is on that meeting, just go through top to bottom. And anybody calls out something that they don't like or want to talk about, we do that. And at the end of that, I'll do whatever I need to do to clean it up. And then we ship that off to the county. We can, of course, make, and that I did put a disclaimer on the front of it, that it might change. Our opinion may change based on other things, but hopefully we will get in return some positive statements of what they intend to do. That may not happen the first one. I think the first one is just going to be something that they can mull over, and then they're going to have a series of the meetings. I guess it's the county commissioners get it first. Is that right, Mark?
I believe so.
Yeah, and then it goes through whatever it goes through in the county. And then it gets submitted to the state. So we have probably until end of May to be finalized. And as mercurial as those dates have been, it may be more, maybe, who knows. But anyway, it will be a description of the housing allowances, the zoning changes that are going to be made for the Nesquin area. And although technically speaking, it's just for the village, just for the original community boundary, which includes more than the village, it will likely affect those areas which are under generalized zoning for the rest of our membership. So that's it.
Yeah, thank you. And I will say, Tom has taken the yeoman's job here. That may not be the right adjective there, but working with Sarah to clean up what the consultants provided. And Sarah has been extremely complimentary over what he did. A lot of the drawings, all the editing. I mean, it's a much improved document because of Tom. And so the input from Nesquin is particularly impacted by this middle housing issue, apparently. And so Nesquin's input is critical. So it was a little bit of a test of our bylaws and policies and procedures that, we have a requirement that anything that's submitted to the county needs to have approval by the membership. And all that's new. So I kind of went in and suggested that they change this to an urgent membership meeting so that they could get membership approval and not just go directly from the subcommittee. Even though it's a drafty draft, they were thinking there's going to be a lot more opportunities for input from the membership to the county. But a lot of, each step of the way, they're going to be taking this at the county level and doing stuff with it. So they were very gracious and agreed that that would be fine to go ahead and change it to an urgent membership meeting. So the executive board already had a special membership meeting scheduled to talk about the transient lodging tax meeting. And so we kind of piggybacked onto that and agreed to get the urgent membership meeting scheduled. So we really appreciate Rand and the rest of the subcommittee for agreeing to make that change. Which brings us to the other test of our policies and procedures, which was the transient lodging tax, the request from the county to have a commissioner come in and talk about the transient lodging tax ballot measure for the membership meeting that we had last Saturday. And I'm hoping that they will actually like the solution that we all came up with. And Mark, would you like to speak to that?
Sure. So Yeah, we received a request for Board of County Commissioner Mary Faith Bell to speak at the August or April 12th membership meeting. And I received the request from Sarah, I think on April 6th, about a week before the meeting. I think it was about a week before the meeting. And at that time, I said, I asked her, is this just information or is this advocating for? It's ballot measure 29183. I'm becoming more familiar with it now. And that's the ballot measure that's increasing to increase the transient lodging tax from 10 to 14%. So initially I said, okay, but then I thought, well, let me look at the bylaws or not the bylaws, the policies and procedures, what we're going to propose. And just in looking at that, I think that I asked again for clarification on whether it was advocating for or just informational. And I didn't get an answer, but I ascertained that it was for advocating for that ballot measure. And so we had the executive meeting Tuesday of this week to discuss that issue. And we felt, as an executive board, we felt that having equal time is important. And so we have offered for Board of County Commissioner Bell to speak for 15 minutes. And this is at the meeting on I think it's the 29th, next Tuesday. So offering Commissioner Bell to speak for 15 minutes. I reached out I contacted the elections department at Oregon State Elections Department and offices, and they gave me some information on how to look up who has filed as a group to either support or oppose a ballot measure. And so under 29, under that ballot measure, there's only one group listed, and Mary Faith Bell is associated with that group. So I did reach out to Hillary to see if there might be some, maybe Oregon Restaurant and Lodging Association or some other organization, Oregon Coast Hosts, who would like to speak in opposition to the ballot measure. And so I have not heard back from anybody about that as of today. So at any rate, on the 29th, the idea is that Mary Faith Bell this is just a forum. The NCAC is not taking no position on it. It's a forum for the community members to attend and hear both sides, 15 minutes of presentation from each side, and then 30 minutes of Q&A. And that's it, hour-long meeting. So so that's where we're at with that. I think, Nancy, unless I've missed something on that.
No, I think that's great. And I think it'll end up being a better opportunity for Commissioner Bell to have a better audience. I'm guessing there'll be more people that will attend, since it will have been noticed with that topic, and they'll be able to get more information about it from all perspectives. And so it is and 4 of our 5 subcommittee members were attending that special executive board meeting. So since Susan's now on it as the outreach task force chair, and Michael's on there as our NCAC parliamentarian, and then Tom came to talk about the community, some of the middle housing impacts. So yeah, why you were the only one I think that was missing out, but I'm sure you're very upset about that. But anyway, I hopefully it's a good solution, but it is a test of our policy and our procedure on this issue. And it is something that I had talked with Sarah about several weeks ago, when I had my one-on-one with her with all our list of questions that we've had over the last months. And she had agreed that this was the appropriate way to go. And then she joined and Mark joined our bylaws subcommittee meeting that turned out to be informational only, because Susan and I were the only ones able to attend the full meeting. But we went through it there too, and she said the same thing. So I think hopefully this will end up being okay, but it's possible that policy or procedure may may be revisited by the county on whether, if it's a county ballot measure, we are allowed to invite all parties. I think it's the right thing when it's something that's been so controversial. It affects obviously short-term rentals, and we want to have a perception of fairness for all sides to be able to come and be heard, and we're not taking an official position. So hopefully it will work out. But I hope everybody will attend that meeting. And Mark, you're going to facilitate that conversation, right?
Mhm.
That
Yeah.
So otherwise, I think I haven't heard any pushback about dropping meetings so far. I think people are good with it, other than I think Tom Prahodich, you said you were planning to go Wednesday night, so hopefully you'll be okay also. But thank you for attending today. And it gives us a little more time to clean up the document as we go forward. So I think that's all I have at this point. Ready to go into the policies, procedures, and references review and update. And I will just say I have been awfully busy and have not gotten to some of the ones that I wanted to be able to provide for today's meeting. So they're going to be held off until the next one. But some of them affect the board, the executive board, for the presentation on the 26th, and we're not going to have a meeting before then. So I will send you out drafts of what I'm thinking we can present on the 26th that are particularly pertaining to the executive board. The key one is the secretary job description and the communications task force that we need to clean up the bylaws that we just kind of left the way they were. But I want to go over all that with Gary before I present to either you or the board, and we just haven't had a chance to do that. Oh, thank you. Michael's reminding me that he had said he couldn't attend. We forgot minutes, Michael. Gosh, I forgot minutes. Thank you. Let me break off and go to minutes.
Yeah, let's take a second for minutes at this hour.
Did everybody have a chance to review the minutes?
I'm good with it.
Yep, so am I.
You see how I'm getting down to one page only?
You're doing really
Well
well,
done.
Michael. Anyone who would not like to accept the minutes at this point or have any changes, or would you rather wait till the end of the meeting? Okay. Are you ready? Hearing none, the minutes are approved as presented.
Drum roll.
Okay. Yay. Okay, so back to the secretary and and have fun, Michael, on your piano group. Tom?
Yeah, if I could say something in case I have to go, I've been wrapped up. I would have been attending more of your meetings, but I've had a lot of work conflicts in the last 2 months. And apparently I'm about to have another one.
Oh, okay.
So I may have to get off. I did read this morning, as you can see with my yellow tabbies.
Oh, wow.
My yellow tabs, and I don't have much, well, I have something to say, but before I do that, Mark, thank you. I hope you listened to the meeting Saturday and heard how happy everyone was that you have agreed to do this another 2 years. I know I've already said things about this in the past, so I'll keep it short, but you've done a wonderful job. You've been a great steward of the committee for the last 2 years, and after a very, very difficult time. And I appreciate it. We all appreciate it. Thankfully, we got the minimal core people available for the meeting to have a quorum. But I did want to say something to you, and I should have. I was in Texas all last week, or I would have been very, very busy, or I would have emailed you and thanked you then. But I'm thanking you now. As to this, I'd say pretty much the same thing. You all are doing an excellent job, and and you don't really have to hear it from me. The best commendation that you could possibly get is from Guy Sievert, and you got it on Saturday. I don't know if all of you know this, but in my estimation, Guy is the greatest repository of information about Nesquin for the last 2 decades. He is our Smithsonian or British Museum. He is on numerous boards, and he's, I think, about to be 80. Makes me feel guilty about what he does relative to what I do. But he's, as you know, he's on the Planning Commission, which is obviously important for us. He's on the Watershed Council. He is a director of the Water District. He was asked to be the president or chair of the Nesquin Valley School in an interim period where there was a financial crisis, and his stewardship there was fabulous. But what he said, oh yeah, and a 2-time chair of the Nesquin Citizen Advisory Committee. So if Guy says you're doing a great job, you're doing a great job. And I really don't. I may send an email about what I particularly like, because there's nothing that I dislike. I noticed that. I want you to know I read the whole thing, because one thing I noticed is you have Steve Rupert as the president of the Water District, and he resigned about 2 or 3 months ago, and now John Metzgan is. But I'll give you that name by email. One of the things I particularly liked, among others, is the discussion of how to conduct surveys. And one of the comments that Guy made was that in the membership meeting is that if he'd had these policies and procedures, if we'd had them for the last 20 years, we would have avoided a lot of conflict, difficulties. And if the STR subcommittee had the policies and procedures about surveys, we would have avoided a lot. We needed, we all spent 2 or 3 months of our lives. I mean, we spent like a year on 2 different surveys, but 2 or 3 of it, I think 2 or 3 months were probably wasted because we had no one to come in and say, this is how it should be done, or monitoring what we were doing. So I particularly like that, and I like other parts of it as well. But you know, as I've said in the past, y'all are doing a great job, and you deserve much commendation, and I'll just leave it at that.
Well, thank you so much, Tom. And I'm going to second your kudos to Mark. We've been in so many meetings since the election meeting, which was not too long ago, Mark, that I didn't even think to say something in our meeting, but absolutely I know that the rest of our subcommittee also is very relieved and happy that you decided to stay on. We really appreciate all your support.
Well, thank you, everybody, very much. And I know Nancy and I talked by phone and email, I think on WhatsApp when I was in Spain, and the hours were crazy, but it all came together, and I think we're just moving forward, and it's a great group to work with. So thank you.
Thank you. And to Tom, thank you for taking the time to read through the whole document. And we do appreciate hearing your suggestions or positive comments when you have the time. So appreciate that. So back to secretary, I think it's important, particularly since we don't have a secretary yet elected, to have those things nailed down. So I plan to work with Gary on getting those before the meeting on the 26th, and I'll send out proposals to you based on my conversations with him. Also regarding that, we found a hole in the bylaws where we have not provided for a vacancy in terms of if there's not a candidate running for office at the April meeting. We have vacancy if somebody leaves midterm. We don't have a vacancy for this situation, so it's easily fixed. We can fix it at the May 31st meeting to say that you know, if there's nobody to run at the April meeting, we will have another election for that office at the June meeting. And then if there's, you know, and then as soon as possible thereafter, or whatever, I'll write up something for that. But the other alternative is we have a special meeting when we have somebody identified, but hopefully that wouldn't be necessary. So that'll just be a cleanup. You know, we have a list. We're making a list of the small bylaws tweaks that we're going to have to, amendments that we'll have to do on May 31st, and of course properly notice those that we're kind of finding as we go along. But that's one. And anyway, the other thing I wanted to talk about was, you know, yeah, although maybe we started the year thinking we could actually do the whole thing, we knew that there were going to be some updates we'd have to do next year. Otherwise, what would we have to do if for all of us continuing, and hopefully it will be all of us continuing. But I was talking with Wyatt, you know, I talked with each of you about cutting off canceling some of the feedback sessions, and thank you all for agreeing to do that. But when I was talking with Wyatt, he had a really nice way of phrasing, putting a position, a placeholder, and calling it something for future description. So a topic. And could you talk about that, Wyatt?
Yeah, it's a fairly common practice in statutory drafting where they want to leave space for additional provisions that they're just not sure about, to just reserve a number or reserve a section and just show it as reserved for future use.
And so the term used is
Reserved for future use.
just okay. That is the term. Okay, so Tom, I'm thinking I kind of like that instead of TBA or something. If we put reserved for future use, once we get farther along, we don't have to do it now, but and that's something we could tackle, you know, next year, since we want to be doing something. So some of these things that we may not have time to get to before the feedback session 3, we might want to just hold off on.
Okay, I'll
So
make
just a
that
thought. What
change
do
on
you?
the next one.
What's that?
Well, and on the feedback, we're actually trying to get that filled in if we can.
Right.
I don't think. Yeah, I guess so. Okay, I'm just going through the mental process of I don't want to shut off discussion of that, although.
No, I'm thinking TBA, as you know, until we're ready to go into the feedback sessions. I mean, we can still continue. We can decide when to change it from TBA, where we're still working on it this year, versus because there's some that are just really simple that I'm kind of kicking myself that I didn't get to you already on, like phone numbers or email contact information for board members, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And, that's
So-
another thing on my list to talk with Gary about, is getting those set up so that we have official emails, kind of like our bylaws subcommittee emails.
That's an
So,
elegant solution for having a document approved. Absolutely. TBAs that would be. I would hate to see that in somebody else's documents, much less.
and
mine.
yet remind us and let people know that we will be working on those areas in the future. Yeah. So thank
Okay.
you, Wyatt. Do you guys have any comments about any of that? Okay, and Tom, we're glad you liked the surveys area. Michael, Michael and I struggled some with that, and there may need to still be some editing, because I think we still went out to 5 bullet points that Tom may have already edited out. Tom 1 doesn't like more than 3 iterations of bullet points.
You go down to 5 levels and 6 levels, and people get lost.
Yeah, or people are using it as a flow chart and they realize that anyway. All right. So at this point, I really appreciate Tom Sipes turning the document into the presentation, and it's terrific. And we'll talk more about the feedback sessions themselves as we go along. But in terms of why don't we just bring up the document itself to go through that now, Tom? And I don't have a specific agenda like I did last week of looking at particular things, but I think we just need to go through the whole thing and then figure out what we still need to do? Oh, you're going to do the presentation. Okay.
So I've been thinking about how we present this, and my thought is that we use the same document and evolve it. But those things which we have not yet decided, I will go ahead and hide those slides.
Okay.
So
Um,
that
okay,
basically
that-
they're still there, but when we do the presentation for the feedback, we won't have to go through ones that we're not ready to talk about yet.
Okay, now I think our next one is, other than the executive board, is going to be May 3rd.
May 3rd? I thought it was April 30th.
Let me look at our calendar, because I could be wrong.
That's what I have
May
on
3rd.
my calendar, but it could be,
I thought I canceled it. Let me bring up the, why don't you stop sharing and I'm going to share the,
okay.
schedule. Okay. Back to Zoom, go to share. Okay, so we canceled April 30th. So we have our executive board one coming up on the 26th, and then we have the feedback session 2 on May 3rd, and then possibly on definitely May 7th. I guess I did put in at one point, this is actually R7, R8 I put on that one, that it's if needed. I guess that's up here, which we'll talk about. Well, if we've got it up, let's just talk about it now. I think it just depends on how much interest we get. You know, if we have the meeting on the 7th for feedback session number 2, and we hold it, and there are 2 people or 3 people, and I look at the signups for the Wednesday session, I suppose if there's someone different, we should just hold it regardless, but maybe we could have 1 or 2 of us attending, and whoever wants to could, but I guess we should make it available if there's anyone who's different that's signed up. But then we don't have another one until the 17th. So the 17th would be 2 weeks, approximately 2 weeks before the meeting to adopt the document. So it seems like it would be worthwhile it will be better fleshed out. Any changes we make as a result of the feedback sessions would already be in there, and along the way we would be sending it to the county. I did ask Sarah how did she want everything submitted and when, and she said that she wanted it submitted when it was pretty well done, and she plans to send the whole thing to the county council. Originally, I had the impression she was going to send just certain pieces that she thought he might care about, but it sounds like she's going to send the whole document to county council. So if we can get that to her by right after that feedback session on the 17th, then they would have the 2 weeks before the membership meeting to review it. I am going to talk to her though about, I think if there are any pieces that are going to be somewhat controversial, that she should send those to him ahead of time. And she had told me before that she was sending that part about ballot measures and legislative things to him. So she may have already gotten something back. So does this look okay? Because this is what I
just wasn't paying attention.
okay. Well, it's constantly has been changing. So any concerns about the schedule? Okay. And I haven't published the second page. I just did the first page, but I thought this is for you guys to have, just showing what the original was. And because the one on the 17th is after the farmer's market has started, I put that one in the afternoon. Okay. I am done. You have it again, Tom Sype.
Let's see about that. Okay, so it's just I in the background I cleverly changed the date.
Look at you.
Yes. So anyway, as I said, I think when we present this, we should not bother with the things that are reserved for future use.
Yeah.
And we'll just go through the ones that are there. But I think that, and let me get up here. Okay.
Perhaps we could have like a page at the end saying future topics, and they might be future this term and they might be future next year, but we could have just a list of topics or something just to let people know.
Okay, I probably would. Yeah, okay. I'll just have make a note. If I
Or
don't,
not.
I'll forget.
I mean, you know,
Well, we'll see after the.
after the first one.
Yeah.
Because I think we'll have some changes based on the meeting on the 26th, and I hope all of you can come to that executive board special meeting.
Okay.
Because I
So-
think if anybody cares about the policies and procedures the most, that's the executive board that's going to have to implement them.
That is on the 26th.
Mhm.
Okay. That's a problem for me. I can't be there.
Oh, okay. Well, we will edit on the fly, Tom, with a 35 or whatever we are at that now, an R32 or 3 or something, and
Well,
and
I
I'll
suggest-
do a 32 or 33A.
Well,
Send that
rather than
to you.
doing that, just modify the slides so you can do it real time. And then I'll compare the two documents and then make the appropriate changes to the master document,
Okay, sounds good.
which is what
And
I'm
you
going to do anyway. Basically, this will be what
Sure.
people see. I'll make that changes and then translate it. That way I get to do an extra step.
Sure. Okay. I think also, yeah, you can also watch the video if you wanted to get the context afterward too, because we'll video it. I am videoing now, right? Yes, I am. Okay. Yeah, that sounds
Okay.
good.
Okay, so this is what I thought might be the ground rules for this format of the presentation.
Yeah, I really like it. But I didn't go through, in the general meeting, the regular membership meeting, we did the straw poll about what people thought, and for the ones who, the question about how to do the feedback sessions, it was unanimous that people wanted to have just a brief delineation of the main point, and then if people had questions that we could go into it in more detail. And so that's how Tom has formatted the presentation, which is perfect. And
Okay,
someone was laughing.
that was me.
That was you? Okay.
I was just thinking about they didn't want to suffer through the same thing we did to them in the bylaws.
Well, yeah, that was bad. That was bad. God, terrible. No, and the intent was to have a presentation format for the future ones, but I guess we should have done that for the first one too.
Okay. So we gave the definitions right out of the document, and these two items here are not this last sentence here is not part of the document yet, and that's a very fancy X. I couldn't find a plainer one, but maybe that's maybe that's appropriate. But anyway, I figured we would mark them as they're reviewed and they're been accepted at least by some group of people, that we can be certain that we have gotten at least tacit approval by some subset of the membership for each one of these things.
What urgent meeting?
That the urgent meeting at which this is, it's not an urgent meeting. No, I got urgent meeting.
Got that on the brain.
This meeting, which is the feedback number 2.
Oh, okay.
So I'll change the check to an X or some other thing.
Okay,
Just to say
and
that,
change the word approved because nobody's approving anything.
Well,
it's a
yes, they
feedback
are. They
session.
are. They're the members of the NCCA who attended this meeting. That they've approved it. It's
Um,
not approved by the NCAC, but they've approved it.
well, it's an information only meeting, so I think we can't say that they've approved it. They can indicate they can have a positive
You give me some
indication.
words that mean
I will.
what you say.
I
And
will.
damn
To
it
me,
if I like them.
okay, Tom, we'll have one of our discussions. I think I'm particularly sensitive to this because we're not, information meetings. We're billing this as a non. It's for feedback and not an approval. To me, an approval is like a Robert's Rules of Order kind of approval, and so it's a red
If we're
flag
ever
kind
going
of
to
a
make
word.
any
So,
progress, we've got to
so
make some ticks saying,
oh,
okay,
I'm
we've
I'm
already
not
covered this.
I'm
Now
not
we need to cover the next thing.
I'm not disagreeing with you that the feedback's important, but if it's a very small representation, it's kind of like even membership Article 3, when we were having all the straw polls, they weren't approving, but they were giving us input. And so, um, yeah, I'll send you some wording on that. I hadn't read that carefully. Thank you for listening and pushing back,
I'll
and
leave
I'll
it. I
push
did
back
not
too.
disagree, which is not horrible. Okay, it is horrible. It's not that horrible.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Anyone else have, please, I don't need to be the only one commenting. People are welcome to, but yes, this is great.
Okay. And just give me an idea of what the policies are meant to be. And this is an extract of the policy one. This is pretty much the way we have done it. And what we should do here is make sure that you agree that this is a reasonable representation of what the rest of it is in the details.
Excellent.
Okay, nobody disagrees?
It's great.
Just one thing, Tom.
Yeah.
Looking at the choice of words, the second sentence, for instance, and most of the paragraphs where it says procedures and provisions, it
That's,
seems to me it's policies and provisions, isn't it? Or
well,
policies and
actually, that
procedures.
probably is a useless sentence. And I don't know
Well, because
what,
that's from the document with the information.
yeah,
Yeah, good catch, Wyatt.
okay. So we changed that in the next one. But for this one, I was still feeling my way around doing this when I did that one.
Yeah.
And yes, that's much clearer. And I think we could actually make that a little bit bigger. I did a Windows update and oh, it works slightly differently. I don't know why
Really?
they did that. Yes,
Oh,
I'll fix that. But basically, this should be larger. Okay, I'll
yeah.
just do it this way. If I can find it. Okay,
Oh, that's nice.
okay. Yeah, all of this stuff is weird. Shouldn't have done that. Anyway, so here's basically all the details, and it's literally from it. So why you were saying policy shouldn't be there?
Let's see.
Maybe you could just take it out.
Procedures and provisions. Provisions we don't have any definition for.
Ah, what do I say the provisions? That's not the word I would normally use. Actually, it is
Policies.
And it's really a
policy,
standard, right?
policies and procedures.
Policies and procedures necessary to
Yeah.
achieve this standard or this value. Or you could just say, achieve this.
Yeah.
Actually, policies is for that one.
Hmm.
That only has policy. No, I don't know how we should refer to that.
You could say policies related to this. Although a lot of them,
Okay. Give me some words. Policies and procedures. You want
related to this standard or
Oops.
related,
Off.
or we could say related policies and procedures are.
Yes.
There you go.
But there's no procedure listed in the bullet.
Yeah. Yes, I'll fix that in a minute.
Okay.
It's actually thinking that at some point we might want to review that too, and there might be more to add, but in
Yeah,
this case, less might be
you can always just put a
more added.
backslash and eliminate the and.
I'm sorry, I just got distracted. What did you say?
Related policy backslash procedures are as follows. I guess it should be policies, plural.
This is painful, sorry.
Of course, as our numbering changes, we'll have to make sure this slide is updated. But
Yeah,
Yes, this one is accurate as I could make it
yeah,
at the time.
right.
And delete that. Okay,
It's just a note for us to think about on the document too as we go forward, as the numbering is changing.
yes, unfortunately, the antique version of Word that I use doesn't allow me to do cross references inside the document. I have no idea why that's so. It's able to do a table of contents, but oh well. Anyway, I will stop that. Okay.
Looks
Any
good.
other changes?
Sometime before the 30th, when I have more time to go through, I'm gonna look and see if there are some others that might be. I don't know if we want to add or not, though. I mean, this is saying basically examples. So
Yeah.
I like it. I really like this policy one, Wyatt
Yeah.
and Tom. A great addition.
That's White's idea. I think it's an
Yeah.
excellent one.
I really
Yes.
kind of like the examples underneath
Mm-hmm.
as an illustrative of the intent.
Mm-hmm. And that was Tom. So the two of you
Yep.
together did a great job. Any other comments, or can we move on?
Okay.
Okay.
That's all we say about it, is that's the high level view. And that's the details.
Now we do have procedures related to this, right?
Yes, I have not done that. I'm not going to do that till we're almost done. Because that's a lot more cross-referencing that'll have to be done manually.
Right. So would you say until we're almost done, do you mean before a feedback session, or do you mean,
I'm not sure of the
what do you
utility of
mean?
it, but I can't.
Because if you'd
I only
like, I
have
could
so
do
much
the,
time.
I know.
I don't want to
I was
spend
just,
my time doing what the
was
word should do.
I was just gonna say, if you'd like, I could do the procedures section. And then as we are going into a feedback session, we could have them in reserve in case people want to see the related
Yes,
procedures.
that would be useful.
And I'll just use your format and stick them out there. But as we go into a feedback session, we'll have some time to do that. I thought for the one on the 26th, as I'm going through, I'm kind of watching to see what would the board particularly care about, because we have 2 hours allotted, and there's probably going to be more discussion with the board. So anyway, I'll deal with that. We have about a week and a half for that. So
Well,
Well,
I
a
don't know, the
week.
board might be better off just looking at the document rather
Oh,
than,
I don't think I want to repeat.
Okay,
I don't want to do
yeah.
that to them.
All right.
That was painful scrolling through that document. God,
Okay.
even I was getting dizzy.
Yeah. So that's a reasonable, and then that's what the detail is. And that's just what's in the document. Do we want to actually go through any of this ourselves and see whether or not we want to change it? Because we've done
Anybody?
some of that already.
I think I'm pretty good with the check mark ones. But if anybody else particularly sees anything that they want to, we'll still have opportunity to change it as we go into the feedback sessions.
But it would be better if the subcommittee was not suggesting changes.
In the yes, in the feedback session. Good point.
Okay.
You guys want to take a look as we're going through?
Okay.
I think we've talked about that one quite a bit. Okay, and then there's our surveys.
I think that's a reasonable summary.
Yeah.
Summation.
That's a great one, Tom.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, fewer words is better. Yeah. And this is not fewer words.
Yeah, could you go back?
Sure.
Can you say gathering in opinions in what's the word? Non-binding opinions.
Opinions are not binding by definition. It's an opinion.
Right.
Opinions can change.
It's just that sometimes people think that they will result in a decision, and we do use, because of the Zoom polls, we use the same term of polls for voting. And so straw polls are a little different in terms of, so I hear what you're saying. I'm gonna think more,
Well,
cogitate
okay,
more on that,
that's,
but
this is the high level view. It does
right,
actually say in here, and I gotta take that bullet out. It does actually say there that they're non-binding.
right.
Those are in the details. But would you like that detail to be up there? They're all non-binding.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
I'm probably
yeah,
okay. What do you guys all
yeah, you
think?
acquiesce, or yeah, you want it.
Yes, I'm acquiescing. For once, Tom, I can occasionally do that.
Okay.
Does anyone else have an opinion on that?
I think it's fine as a summary.
Okay. Yeah, boy, there's a lot of wording there, huh?
Yeah, well, that's got two of them at least.
Well, that's what I'm wondering, is if we could move those to 2 slides, but I can talk to you offline about that.
Move
I
it to
think
2 slides. I don't
Yeah.
understand what you're saying.
put that slide on 2 slides. Have it moved
Oh,
over
that
into
one
2
is
slides.
already on 2 slides. Oh, that one? Okay.
That one all by itself. Group, I'm happy to work with you on
And
this
that's
kind
not a
of
problem.
stuff. So,
I
because
could
I
do,
know you're very busy.
you could
Yeah.
watch me do that in real time.
I don't want to
but-
watch you do it. No.
Okay,
thanks.
sorry. Yeah. Yes. Okay. I'll
Just think
split
in
that
terms of
one.
readability. Mhm.
This one looks okay. So I'll make that 2. It'll be 3 slides.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you.
I tried to get that. Yeah, I agree. That's way too many.
Yeah.
Uh, and even this one's too many, but
Hmm.
I think I'll have to live with it.
Hmm.
Getting nods? Okay, we're okay with that?
Yep.
Mhm.
And this is the details.
So let me just ask so we don't need to actually read the ones that are check marked. Did you rewrite any of it for the presentation? Okay, it's
Nope.
it's copied and pasted in.
Yep.
Okay, great.
So can we assume that everything that we had before is still there? In other words, other than perhaps making that another slide.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think anything that's just really, really worded, you put on
Okay,
multiple slides.
I'll expand them.
Thank you. And most of them probably won't matter that much. The community engagement one's pretty important. We'll probably go over that in some fair detail. Mhm.
That one, is that full text? Is full, yeah.
It must be under policy. See, this is where procedures following the policy might be helpful because there's a lot in this one. We just dealt with this, right?
Yeah.
That's why we're having an urgent membership meeting. So this doesn't capture the full policy here
Yes, it is.
because it's not. I mean, we need to change. I think we need to amend the policy that any public station. Maybe that's under a different policy, but that it has to have the approval of a membership.
Probably. I don't recall. But that is it.
Okay, so let's look at policy 6. Then we'll go back to the document.
Go back to the document.
Is the
That's
it
it.
shouldn't just be a procedure. Yeah. So can we go to the related procedure?
Oops, I didn't want to do that. Don't help me. Stop helping Windows. Let's see, public. Reports.
Yeah.
It's sort of an orphan. We have to have, in my mind, we should have a policy that at least one policy
Yeah.
for every procedure. We don't necessarily, I mean, that's. we
Well, it
don't
sort
have-
of fits. Oh, okay. Yeah, I agree with you, Tom.
So
And
that
is
we only
there
need
any?
a placeholder saying we need to do this, and then
Well, I
this
think
is
we
how
could
you do
write
it.
it pretty quick. So is that the full thing, or do you scroll down further?
Oh, no, it goes on.
Yeah, I thought it went on. So I think somewhere I thought it said. So I think we need could it be under policy 6, public statements and positions, that we just have something in there? Maybe it's because it's already in the bylaws. We don't have it in
Yeah.
here, but let me pull up the bylaws.
Okay, policy 6 is that. And then,
Right,
and then policy procedure 8 is that.
right.
Now, we can add some links in the presentation, because unless they've broken that, that should work.
Hmm.
So I could refer to a slide. If you give me the map, I'll do that.
Okay. Oh, you mean to go back to the bylaws, or do you talk about between policies and procedures?
Policies and procedures.
Yeah,
The bylaws is a given.
right.
Doesn't that policy shouldn't that fall under records?
Uh,
Record retention,
Could.
so that you don't have to then tie it to a procedure, Nancy.
Right. I would like to see somewhere in a policy that anything that was being reported out officially from the NCAC will be done by the membership with approval of the membership. So I thought we had that.
Yeah, we do. It's down here.
Where?
It's in the procedure.
Okay, so I'd like to see that in the policy. Don't you think that's more of a policy statement than
It
a
is,
procedure?
it is.
So I'm wondering if we add that to policy 6 and that it's more than just record retention. It's also that policy, because that just came up, that's a big deal.
Okay. How do you want to handle that? You want to give me some text now or?
Yeah, where is it in the procedure about anything?
This is talking about the process here.
Right. But the part about it has to come from members, the membership, approval of the membership. Where is that?
Well, let's imply a results of any vote. It's right up front.
Right. But like the community plan subcommittee could be making a vote and sending it, right? So I think under policy 6, why don't we add to that policy that any recommendation or report coming out of the NCAC needs to be approved by the membership, even if a draft. And that would go before the formal studies and reports should be archived.
Okay.
Any other comments from people? I can send you some wording afterward about that, just getting the gist of it down. I think it may be in the bylaws somewhere, but it bears repeating.
And CSC membership?
Uh-huh. Yes, thank you.
Not to split a fine hair, but anytime we publish a schedule, let's say the executive committee publishes a schedule, it's a
Mhm.
public statement.
Ah, good point.
Okay, yeah, so we need to parse this a little better.
Actually, if you had,
I'm wondering about reports. God.
Public position statement makes sense.
Okay, let's use the example of the middle housing plan. So it's a report on Nescolin's,
actually, I think this works.
Yeah, not quite.
yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
let me, before I do anything else,
I'll do a 31, R31.
actually, yeah, okay, I haven't published our 31 yet, so, okay, I'm okay.
I think it's really any statements of, public statements of position, committee position shall be approved by the NCAC membership. That way, it's not a question of some, perfunctory statement of a schedule.
How about that? Anybody object?
I think it's good for now.
Yeah.
We may tweak it a little bit, but in a future meeting. Mark, did you have any thoughts on this?
Sorry, I was muted. No, I think the biggest issue is the vote by the membership before sending so that I think that's the part that probably is most important to get in there, but I understand why it was saying too about the statement.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
easy to add, any public statement or positions approved by the membership shall
Mhm.
be approved, well,
Before sending, anything basically being sent
Yeah.
away from the NCAC to another entity shall be approved by the NCAC membership, even if it's a draft.
Let's stop wordsmithing real time and highlight that. And
Okay, thank
I'm
you.
going to take away its check mark.
Okay, thanks.
It lost its check mark.
Okay. But it doesn't have an extra.
Doesn't even have a check. Okay.
So can I ask a question about that though? So, I don't know, something that we'd want to send to the water board or something to the Tillamook County or something to, I don't even know who else. Like, okay, we just by process, if we wanted to send something away to the water board, for example, or the sewer board or something like that as a statement, we'd have to bring it to the members, get a vote on it before we send it away. Is that correct? Okay.
That's kind of what I think
Yeah.
we're suggesting.
Okay.
But
Okay.
we, feel free to push back. We're just doing it now. This is something where some of the
Yeah.
problems happened back, in
Yeah.
2023, and
Yeah.
is that reports were getting sent out without the approval of the membership or even knowledge, and so that's what caused some of the problems back then. That's why I think this is really important.
Yeah. I completely agree. I just think I sometimes the timelines are compressed
Hmm.
to do this. And so that's a side issue to this probably, but we'll just have to keep an eye on, things come up and you have to call an emergency urgent or special urgent meeting and then you put it in front of the membership and you ask for a vote. And we're just going to have to be okay doing that sometimes, I think. And that's fine.
Right. And the good thing about the policies, procedures, and references is that they can be changed.
Yeah.
It's not like the bylaws, it's a
Yeah.
huge deal. They can be
Yeah.
changed at the
Okay.
next meeting of the
Okay.
membership. But if
Yeah.
it turns out it's a problem, we could deal with that.
Yeah.
Uh,
Okay. That's fine. Thanks.
I mean, I hesitate to even say or the board, because when that happened before, the board was, at least parts of the board were involved. So, I
There.
Tom Prohodich, if you had any thoughts on this it would be helpful too. You were involved with some of that. You may have been called away.
No, I don't.
Okay, thank you.
If we put the
Okay.
word formal, that would get us out of the conundrum of having to have meetings approved to have meetings approved.
Yeah, I like
Yeah,
that.
yeah. I think so. Do you think that would, oh, okay. Thank you, Mark. Very much. And Mark said he had to leave. So do you think that would have qualified, Tom? Let's say the discussion on the middle housing thing, would they consider what they were planning to submit a formal report, even though it was draft?
It's a formal statement.
Okay,
It's not an
great.
official position.
Okay, I like that.
This is what we think now, and it may change.
Okay,
So we're not completely unhappy with this?
I think it's good, Tom.
I
Okay.
do too. I like that. Thank you very much for working with me on that. It's really interesting seeing it on the report. I mean, I've seen it, in the document, but I kind of link the policy and procedure stuff, but I don't think it was the procedures either. It was in my figment of my imagination.
Okay. So we're back to that.
I
Save
think it
that.
might be in the bylaws.
Nothing like real-time
Yeah.
editing. Now the question is, does it get its check mark back?
Yes.
Okay.
Good save, Tom.
Yes.
All right. And before I forget, I need to,
Oh, doing R2. Oh, that. Mhm. Oh, gosh, you've got a lot to remember.
yeah. Down to 6. Okay, so we're done with 6.
Hmm. And then you've changed the numbering on the presentation too, right?
The numbering on the
Or are you
Yeah.
numbering those? Yeah. Okay.
no, it's just an external number. This should be larger. Oops, not that large. We could make this 2 paragraphs.
Okay.
Okay. I thought it was important to have that second sentence in there, just because this
Mhm.
boldface doesn't communicate the reasoning.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's full text. And I should probably go ahead and do that and make that a separate paragraph. But anyway,
Oh, there. Yes. Uh-huh.
okay.
Mhm. You know, it's interesting. We've talked about doing that like at either the April or the June meeting and the procedures. And Gary didn't have a chance to do it in the April meeting, but I noticed a lot of people are just going in at the time now to register, to sign up for a meeting, and they go right through because it's already pre-populated. I did that myself rather than pre-registration. And if they get hit suddenly with this longer registration form at the time of the meeting, it's going to irritate people. We're almost going to have to send something out ahead of time saying, allow for some time. These are the questions you're going to be asked when you register for the meeting. Anyway, just a fleeting thought. Maybe to add to the procedure. Give an announcement ahead of time.
My my concern about that is putting barriers between people joining.
Exactly.
Um,
We don't want to do that.
and if we have the honor system, yeah, maybe somebody will sneak in. But if they care enough to sneak in, I don't know.
Hmm.
Of course, I suppose you could have some outside organization that wishes to have undue influence and have all the secretaries of the corporation log in. I don't know.
Well, I'm just wondering though if we could add to the procedure something about that in the email announcement of the meeting and on the events page, we just have something in there saying membership registration, click here ahead of time. Although to have something in the email too saying we're doing our annual membership registration at this meeting. So please log in 5 minutes ahead of time or do it now. Anyway, well, I'll make a note to draft that in the
You want to make
procedure
note of
section.
that?
We don't need to do it right now. What? Yeah.
It's got to
It'd be
be
more in
written
the
out some.
procedure. It'd be in the procedure section, right? Isn't there? Maybe there isn't a
No, there isn't anything
related
about meeting note.
procedure.
I don't think there's anything about meeting notices. I don't remember it.
Okay.
But I think
Um,
in terms of the job duties, that's part of,
y-
notices.
secretary and notices. Yeah. Let me write that as an action item and to develop a procedure on policy 8, how we go about doing that. We don't need to do it now.
Okay.
Thank you. I'll talk to Gary
Okay.
about that too.
Yeah. I wish I could do better on the formatting of this, perhaps I'll try it again, but for some reason, PowerPoint likes to put lots of big spaces in there with small.
Mhm.
Don't proportionally do the thing. Anyway.
Mhm.
Okay. Any
That's
comments?
good. Looks good. Fundraising should be one word.
Which word?
Fundraising in the title.
Ah. Put this over here and I'll make the changes. I'll just have to do a diff later. This was highlighted in the document. Do we want to do anything with that?
I think we're trying to decide what should be first, whether we approach the account first or we approach the membership. It seems like maybe it should be something where it needs to be approved by the NCAC board and then referred to the county for approval before it gets approved by the membership. I think that's what we were kind of deliberating about the last meeting, because the county has to approve. This is something Sarah was particularly concerned about, is that we would be going out for grants without their permission. So it sounds like we should probably change NCAC membership to the NCAC executive board. And that and not approved, but referred to the county Office of Community Development for approval before, and then it has to go to the board, the membership. I
know, in the interests of making sure that we don't step on toes, I mean, it's the same process. It's something and it's an official communication. To be consistent
true.
with the other policy, we got to do it by the membership.
Well, you're right. You're right. That's a really good point.
It seems to me that we need to say exactly what we're forwarding to the county.
Forward our recommendation.
Um,
Not our, but the.
And
are we forwarding it to the county for their approval?
For the processing.
actually, for their approval.
Actually, they're going to do it. We're not. So it would be processing. We're not allowed to actually make the application. They do.
So it's not just processing, though. Sarah wants to say yay or nay on whether we go for it.
Yes, no, I mean, we're done. Once that thing that's highlighted is done, we don't have anything more to input. We have no control over what's applied or whether or not it's accepted. If the county accepts it, it's accepted.
Tom Harpradich is saying he has to leave also. Thank you very much, Tom, for coming, and we welcome your comments.
And good luck.
Yeah. Yeah,
You disagree with that statement?
It should be shall forward the application to the county for processing and approval. Or approval and processing.
So
Yeah.
you want,
because the county may not just, to me, processing implies that they're going to,
It's ministerial.
yeah, that, right, exactly. That they don't have an approval thing in it. They're just gonna implement it.
okay.
And there is an approval component.
Good point. And it's not recommendation. What was the word?
Application.
Well, there are two things.
Well, yeah.
Don't change it yet, because it looks like they're two different phases, and in some cases they are, but in some cases we are offered a grant without ever applying for it. So that happened recently with the NCA when they offered us the money for the owl, the hybrid meeting equipment, and
Okay.
we decided we didn't want it, and we convinced them that they could keep it and maintain it, and all that kind of thing. And so we didn't accept a grant that we never applied for, and we thank them very much, and we are enjoying using that, or we will be enjoying using that. But in some cases they're two steps of the same grant, and in other cases they're completely separate things, so that makes it a little complicated.
I think recommendation is a word that can cover both
Yeah,
things.
I
all
like
things.
that.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay, shall I highlight that?
I like it. Anyone else have a comment?
Okay. And does it get a check mark?
Mm-hmm. I think so. Please speak up though if anyone else.
Okay. Let's see. We are not making much progress going through this, but we may need to do another meeting, I think. Okay. Any comments on that? Is that the full text? Let me look. No, it's not the full text.
I certainly think for a slide, it's adequate, Tom.
Okay.
Yeah. We need to do columns with the.
Yeah, and then we got, that needs to be 2. And
So the
this is,
cleanup.
but this, yeah, this is not actually, this will be hidden because we're not done. We
I'm
got
sorry,
some more
what?
detail. We're not,
Oh,
we
okay.
need more detail. So this isn't done yet, so we won't be. I mean, that won't actually be shown if we hide the unapproved ones, or
So the only thing unapproved is, can you kind of make that bigger on that second page? That yellow part. Responsible for physical posting of information about the
Okay.
NCAC.
well, it's gonna be easier over here.
Susan, do you think you could flesh that out in the next few days? And I think it's a fairly small thing. It's just I don't think this is a policy, so I don't think we need to include in here exactly where the physical posting of information is, do we? Wouldn't that be under a procedure isn't there a
It would be.
procedure
You're
for
right.
outreach task force?
Yeah.
Okay, so delete this sentence.
I'd move it to, cut and move it over to outreach task force and procedures. Which I think we had talked about. We have that somewhere, don't we?
And
You're in references. Oh, I see. You put all that down in references. Okay.
we don't have,
Like we should have a procedure for the communications task force. And it seems like,
this is the areas we don't have filled out very well.
right? I see. So well, that's reference.
Oh, back down here. Monitoring organization of subcommittees.
Yeah, I thought we had those. We should have one for each. Like we have the monitoring task force, don't we have one for outreach?
I thought we did.
I did too. Okay, let's make a note for that outreach task force procedure. Maybe we divide up
remove-
the policy. I know you removed some stuff to reference, but for that,
I don't see it, but,
so why don't we hold off on that and Susan and I can look through and see if we can divide up the policy part and put some in procedure. Because like that statement, I don't think needs to be in a policy. I think it can be done.
Yeah, I think the way that we wrote it originally, we had the policy followed by the procedure. So if we just took
Yes.
everything underneath, pardon my voice, under the neighborhoods and put it in procedure.
Yeah,
Like the bullet points after the neighborhoods.
yeah. That's a good idea. I think that is how we had it originally.
I think so.
Or maybe you had it, I think you had it originally, and then when you and I talked, I was still really confused about how you divide them up. And I think maybe we put them together when we sent them to Tom. And then they stayed together. So,
so these
yeah,
aren't
it would-
approved yet, so we won't have to discuss those for the meeting, but
no,
more
but,
work, more work to be done.
but I think Susan's right. If we just took all the bullets under the policy and stuck them in the procedure area, create a procedure and
Mhm.
stick them
Okay.
in, I think that would do it.
I
And
think that
including
would solve it.
including that yellow area.
Mhm. Not the neighborhoods, but what's under the neighborhoods, the bullets starting under the neighborhoods.
Okay.
Right. Starting with
Yeah,
permanent, that
right
third
there.
bullet.
Yep.
Mhm.
In which case that makes the other thing about,
Right.
I am
So
adding
this,
that,
this would have this finished.
Mhm.
pardon, I just hurt myself with Word over here where you can't see. Okay. All right. Fair enough. Now, back to this. That's
So
not
this could
much
get it.
different than that.
Oh, it looks better.
Yeah, that's good.
Or you could do columns, but you and I can talk after, Tom, if you'd like. I may try to do some just formatting stuff to, if you don't have time, just to help you out on that, not content, but we'll talk because I don't want to get in your way.
Okay. Yeah, after I get done what I think needs to be done.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So,
Yeah, because we can call it outreach task force procedure. I don't know what procedure number that would be.
Right. Maybe put it with the
that's
monitoring.
procedure 20.
Okay.
And I'll rationalize what's in the document with what's in the presentation, and then we can talk.
Mhm.
So the slide above that, isn't this basically the slide?
Yes.
The
it
slide
is
just before
essentially,
this?
yeah.
So there's like one,
One sentence. It's not really different.
yeah, what's, could you go back to the next one? Okay, I
can
want to be able to
reset.
capture it all.
I'm going to reset. Okay. That's actually
Yeah.
probably almost okay the way it is.
Mhm.
I think it is. You could just get rid
Yeah.
of the first slide and take out the detail,
Mhm.
the word detail. And eliminate the slide before it.
Okay.
Thank you. And a check
Yeah.
mark.
Yes.
Yeah, this is really helpful. I know it's really tedious. Thank you, guys. It's very helpful. And Tom, thank you for creating this thing.
And it's actually making us look at them differently.
It is. It is.
Well, we had some of that experience with the bylaws. When
We
we
did.
started putting them in slides with that,
Yeah.
that doesn't
Yeah.
sound right.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
All right, so monitoring task force, yeah, okay. I'm not even sure that the full text isn't good enough, but
I think it is. Do you think we need the 2 slides?
probably not. Do a reset. Ooh, let's make that smaller and not bulleted. Oops,
Yeah, we can fix all that
I
later.
can fix that up.
Yeah.
And it's full text.
That's helpful where you're putting full text or detail.
Okay. Any issues with that? Really, policies generally should be fairly short. They can, some of them are in
Mhm.
bold, but they should be fairly short.
Mhm.
Okay, hearing no
That's
objection.
good. Mhm. Ah, this may be it.
Oh, yeah.
No, we had some.
Maybe it for what?
No officer, member, or maybe we should say no officer, member, task force, or subcommittee of the NCAC shall use the name of the committee or position therein for purposes unrelated. No, it's not. Communicating a position of the committee to outside agencies. It's right there. So we just need to add in, it's not just an officer or a member, it's also a subcommittee or task force.
But they're members.
Except in. Yeah, actually, maybe on that second bullet, communicating a position of the committee. An
That's
official
NCAC. That should say
somewhere in there.
NCAC.
Yeah,
Committee is,
right.
the only committee we have is NCAC.
That's right. But we make it really clear. Yeah. Yes. I guess this is more really about individuals, but I think it's probably still good to have policy 6 with that wording in there too. So when they're communicating a position of the NCAC to outside agencies, it would be when authorized.
Mhm.
I don't know. Does that cover it or not?
I think it does.
Okay.
Mhm.
Did it lose its check mark or can it keep it?
I think it
Oh.
keeps it, John.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Any other changes?
No.
I wonder if that's still procedure 2 or not. Probably not. Okay, so I'll fix that. Actually, what I'm going to do is, right now, I'm just going to call it,
Procedure X, yeah. Yeah, that's good. You know, for the feedback sessions, I wonder if it might not be that hard, instead of doing a full presentation of all the procedures. You know, if we were having tons of people and lots of feedback sessions, it'd be a different story, but we don't seem to have that kind of interest. I wonder if we just keep the procedure part of the document handy, that if people want more information about a given policy, want to see the procedures, we just go to the document and not have presentation slides. What do you guys think?
that has a lot to say for it. It's, procedures are authorized by policies. And the only objection you should have to a procedure is that it violates the policy or is incomplete.
Right. But it might be that people like the policy, but they don't like the procedure that's spelling it out, or procedures
Yeah.
that are affected by it and affecting it. So
I mean, we
I
can
get
try
the
it that way.
sense that most people aren't, but we could go to the document if someone wants to see it. And I could have a matrix like I did before that maps, or maybe by then, we could actually, like you have here, we could have a procedure listed, but I can have a map in front of me when we're in the meeting where it'd be easy to go to the right procedure number. I wouldn't have to do that hunting like I was doing at
Yeah,
that feedback session number 1. That was so awful. Um,
I
and
like
it'd be
it,
interesting.
Nancy.
Do you? Okay.
Yeah,
It wouldn't, because I have a feeling most people, and then we could try to cover most of it or all of it in one feedback session. We wouldn't have to go split these out into various policies. I just kind of get the sense most people aren't going to want to discuss it in detail, but if it turns out they do, we can wrap it up in the next feedback session.
Well, it's already here in terms of the procedures.
Mm. Oh, I thought
So-
you said you hadn't done the procedures. Okay,
No,
never mind.
I didn't do the references.
Oh, okay. Okay. You've already done it. Great. You are amazing. All right. Thank you. Sorry.
so-
Okay. That's right. I did look at at the presentation, but it's been a few days and my mind got full.
Okay. So we're in policy. Oh, here's the monitoring task force.
Yeah.
Okay, we already covered that.
Yeah, we did. We were just going to
Okay.
clean it up. But yeah.
References, yeah, okay, this is the
We're good.
references section.
Mhm.
Then we're okay with that.
Yeah.
And that one,
And this
we
one we
just
just
finished.
changed.
Okay, there we
We
go.
just added, go back to use of title. Did you add we're authorized to, when authorized
Yeah,
on that second
yeah.
bullet to the document?
yeah.
Okay.
See, I pay attention sometimes.
Shouldn't there
Yeah.
be semicolons after each bullet point?
No,
Okay,
that's legal. That's not, that's a legal convention. And
No,
if style guide,
this is something we just need to write down.
no,
Okay.
I'm going by, I do have a
Oh, you've
style
got
guide.
more. We wrote them.
Yeah, oh yeah. Okay, I'll stop.
So
So
the
what?
first slide is not even a sentence. I mean, it is, I guess it is, but uh, is that a note in the document?
Well, 16.
I think what we did was we said, I think we had a note where we were saying in the bylaws, there questions came up about why would we ever have an urgent meeting? You know, what would necessitate it? And so this policy is describing this, but I'm not sure
Okay,
that that belongs. Yeah, okay.
I, at this point, I
Yeah,
was
that's
needing
good.
more coffee, so I didn't make a very good sentence.
Okay.
Well, are we gonna really say that urgent meetings should only be used in limited circumstances? And isn't that the policy?
Uh, The policy describes,
Yeah, I like that
Maybe
as a
the policy
summary.
is, maybe the policy is urgent meetings should be rare and only where time is of the essence.
Yeah, that's nice, Wyatt. It's also, I think we describe it as a critical, right? I mean, the bylaws describe it already as critical and time sensitive. So the policy shouldn't just repeat the bylaws completely, but I think that's why we had the note about the policy really is describing what constitutes a situation where an urgent meeting should be appropriate. I don't know that maybe we just go directly into it and not have the introduction stuff.
it is one page.
Yeah, where is that? Where can we?
This
So
is,
if we took out that,
we took that out.
yes, because all that was just kind of notes. I don't know that I mean, for the feedback sessions, it might be nice to leave this in as an aside. It wouldn't actually be in the policies and procedures that are published necessarily. We could just describe that part. If you go back into that second slide and we eliminate those first things and we start with urgent meetings should be rare, that really is the policy, right? We could
Yeah.
take out the rest of it.
The example, we don't need this example, really.
No, you don't.
You know, the only reason we have stuff in here is to give people an example of why. I guess we wouldn't have to. It's just the reason we spent more time with it is that it was so controversial in the development of the bylaws. And really, it was controversial for a couple of people. Yes. And I think they came around. But
and we've already scheduled one, so having had one and
right,
explain, I say, well, when we did the
we've had two.
Hmm.
So yeah.
Yeah, that's actually full text should be.
Yeah. So I think the word important is, it's not just rare and only where time is of the essence. They have to be critically important. I mean, they should be rare, comma.
That makes sense.
You know what? All this is in the bylaws, that first sentence. We could just start with urgent executive board meetings may be called for any of the following reasons. Because the top one is in the bylaws.
Okay, I'm good with that.
We don't address membership meetings, urgent member meetings. It's just executive board here.
Yeah, so this is the first step. The next slide should be membership meetings, right?
We don't have another slide.
Okay, can we go back to the document? Yeah, if you
Okay.
keep scrolling down, there should be more.
Yeah, well, we can get rid of this, right?
Mm-hmm. And the top one too. So we're just missing the part about the membership meetings.
I saw it.
This-
It's
the
there.
slide,
Yeah.
yeah,
so
it's here. The slide, we just need another slide for the
Mhm.
membership ones.
Well, these are, as an example, if we get rid of that,
The paragraph above it.
okay, what do you want with the paragraph above it? Get rid of that too?
You don't have that in there. The urgent membership meetings are called to address important issues regarding a timely NCAC recommendation to Tillamook County or another agency. Is missing from the presentation.
It was in the details. I thought it was.
Well, yeah, that's why I was asking, is there another slide that, Well,
Maybe I lost it.
yeah. And it's not a bullet point.
Mhm. Right.
Are any of these? Okay,
It's on a par with executive board.
Mhm.
okay.
Yeah.
So I want to look at the bylaws. I think they say that they can be called by by either the chair or the executive board, which is what I think we should keep. Urgent membership meetings. Yes, it can be as determined by the NCIC chairperson. Okay. Yeah, we need to update the bylaws on that one too. It should be as determined by the NCAC chairperson with the or the executive board. I don't know. Well, maybe we just leave it. So Mark
Yeah.
could have actually called the urgent meeting without the need to have an executive board meeting.
It's just nice that it went through the full process.
It
Now,
is,
if there was something like that needed 24-hour,
right?
that having the 24-hour thing on it would actually get in the way. So I think
Right.
leaving the flexibility.
Yeah.
And you can put it in the recommendations for the references on the job description.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree. Maybe what we could do is say urgent. Yeah, never mind. Yes, in fact, it's in that first sentence. So that's great. It's right there in that first bullet. Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
So,
This is
yeah,
sort of not really necessary. That's more examples.
yeah.
Everybody agreed to delete?
I'm trying to see if this example would fit. Yeah. In fact, I wonder if we could even help, but basically all that I think they would want is our email list. And yeah, I agree. I could go out. What do y'all think?
I'll put it back. in.
If we were going through this as a typical, like we did last year with the bylaws, some of these examples would be helpful to have in a presentation for feedback sessions, but I just get the sense it's not, it
I
might be
don't think
helpful to have
anybody
them
but
if it
those two
comes
people
up.
are anybody but those
Right.
two people will care, and they actually
Right.
got answered.
They did, and we have examples now ourselves.
Yeah.
Where it's happened twice. Yeah. Any objection to taking the paragraph out?
No.
Okay. It's out. This is really helpful. We're simplifying some of this stuff.
Then the next question is, does it get a check mark?
I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
Oh,
Could you, that's cute. Could you maybe boldface executive board meetings at the top and then membership meetings at the next
I
one?
can.
Thank you.
Wow.
Or will you? Shall you? Maybe urgent at the top of the one too. So I have a question for you, Tom, on we're capitalizing executive board and we're not capitalizing membership. Do you think we should capitalize membership in these kinds of things?
I never did very well at German.
Yeah, it's
German would do that.
it kind of almost sets the executive board as a higher importance than the membership a little bit.
Executive board is a title, and that should not be. Actually, that shouldn't be bolded or.
It can be bolded but not capitalized.
Well, the question is whether if there's a reference to or something that defines or delineates what a membership meeting is in the bylaws. And if that's the case, then it should be capitalized.
There is, yeah, we do have that in the bylaws.
Okay.
Then it should be capitalized.
Okay. So I'm behind on writing the style guide.
Yeah, that's Article 5.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then could you go ahead and capitalize and boldface meetings up above?
Actually,
You can even do better.
no. Is that an entity? The
It
meeting?
is an entity. It absolutely is in Article 5.
I think, capital letters are in short supply, and I think we need to be very careful about having them.
Okay. Okay. This is really helpful.
Let's try it one size bigger.
Okay.
Okay.
What's next? I'm going to kind of move us along here. We've covered some of the stuff for
I have
the
one,
feedback session
I have one
planning, so-
edit. Sorry, my voice in the first bullet. Urgent membership meeting then should be capped.
Thank you.
Mhm,
And urgent capped.
mhm.
Oh, you want captures?
Yeah.
And regular capped. Oh, except then we're getting to caps down below too. God. Okay. I don't know.
I think a regular, that doesn't need to be capped.
Okay. What's next?
See, that's the trail you go down and you start capitalizing.
Yeah.
things.
Yeah. What's next?
Oh.
Policy 17. That's good.
Mm.
That's good. I like all that.
Yeah, but
Okay.
go up to the slide again. The other one, sorry,
The detail.
the detail of information only meeting.
Whoops.
The second paragraph, it should be an information only meeting rather than an informational meeting.
Good catch.
The information only. That's a single concept. Examples includes. Do we really need examples?
I think the fact I might take out the bear safety thing, but leaving in feedback sessions as an example. And the straw polls thing I think is important.
So include that. That's wrong.
I mean, we could say maybe such as, so instead of examples include, we could say after sometimes input is gathered, comma, such as in feedback sessions. Subcommittee feedback sessions.
Mm.
Up in the first
Uh,
sentence.
Okay, I'm confused as to what you want me to change.
So
Where-
if
where am I?
go to the first sentence of the second paragraph.
Okay.
An information only meeting is a meeting in which information is provided and sometimes input is gathered, comma, such as in subcommittee feedback sessions.
Um,
As in subcommittee feedback
Mhm.
sessions. Or presentations from Tillamook County.
You want an or in there?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that would still be a feedback session, wouldn't it? How's that
Well,
different?
sometimes they're providing information. They don't want feedback.
Sure, they would
Like,
disagree with that, but
well, no, like the back, when I first started attending in 2020 when they were having the overlay stuff.
oh, okay. Well, and FEMA
yeah,
is an example of that.
right.
But it's a such as, and such as is open.
Yeah.
We don't need to get.
Okay. But then that last one, straw polls used during an information only meeting are for general input and not binding. Wording probably needs to be changed.
Okay, so do we need this sentence?
I don't think so. What do you think, Susan?
Probably not.
Okay, I'm gonna strike it out because that's in the
Yeah.
middle of things and I might miss it otherwise. I'll delete it later and once I make the change.
Plus you have to make the change on the other document, so it's good to
Yeah.
leave it in.
Straw
So
poll,
straw polls used are for, I think you can take out during an informational meeting because it's in that whole topic. Straw polls are for general input only and are not binding. You just take out that stuff and then you've got it. Yeah. That's good.
Okay, I might as well go ahead and delete this because I'm gonna have to look at that closely.
So the page 1, do you think we've got this in 2 places now. We've got it at the end and we've got it at the beginning of page 1, the previous page.
What are you talking about?
So you have policy 7, the first page has the same information as the last line of the second page. So,
It looks like this is all we need. Is that what you're saying?
yeah, or we take out the bottom and put yeah, I think we just leave it like that. We could probably take out the slide before. What do you guys think?
Yeah.
In the slide above, the last sentence of paragraph 1 and the third sentence, the very last, are identical. I mean, same idea of quorum.
Right. That's why we're talking about taking out that first slide. So it's not duplicated. Is that what you mean, Susan?
No, just even on this page right here, the full text.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The last sentence of paragraph 1,
Yes.
and then the third paragraph citing Robert's
Yeah. So
rules.
we had it in 3 spots.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
And we want
Okay.
to make sure that we really understand that.
Knock them over the head.
Right. Yeah, no, that's great. I wonder if we want to bold it. Probably not.
I don't think we need this paragraph at all.
We need to have somewhere that a quorum, just keep everything, strike everything except the last words. A quorum is not required for meetings that are purely informational.
But that's not
Okay.
keeping you. You want that
Okay.
sentence
So
put down here?
sure. Yeah. Or no.
No?
Okay, sure. Put it down there.
Okay. Is that what we want?
Yeah.
And we
And
don't
I
need
kind of
the-
think now, I think what we're saying is, regardless of whether it's regular, special, or urgent, and if it's an information only meeting, then. So I don't know, do
I
we
think
want to
that's in the
lose that?
bylaws, isn't it?
It's not what?
Isn't it in the bylaws or should be?
It should be. Remember, we had it in the bylaws, and then around Rev 15, it was taken out of the bylaws. So there's nothing in the bylaws about information only meetings. And so that's why we had this little introductory thing
Okay.
in the policy that the 3 types that we have are these 3, and there's a quorum requirement. But there's not, so now we're saying there's not a quorum requirement for information only, regardless of the type. So I think we should be careful about taking out some of this stuff.
Okay, well, I've been taking out stuff, so I'm gonna stop now. Tell me what to do.
Can you just do an undos? Okay, I don't think we need page 1. Or slide 1 rather. And then I think we just take out that last sentence and leave the rest. What do you guys think?
Yeah.
Yeah. I like that.
So, an information only meeting is any kind of meeting, or
Right.
is a special, excuse me, is a special meeting. It's just a subclass of special.
It could
We
be
had
a
that
yeah. It can
There's-
be a regular meeting. It can be an urgent meeting. Well, it's probably not going to be urgent. It could be regular or special, though. For example, we're having a special meeting for the TLT, and it's going to be information only.
Hmm. Okay, fair
We're
enough.
not taking a vote. That's why these examples might be helpful. But it isn't, I mean, we don't need an example, but that is a information only special
Okay, fair
meeting.
enough.
I don't see that we would have it for urgent, but we don't need to say that.
No, you could have an urgent notification that they're going to
Yeah.
close 101.
Well,
And,
that's true. That's true.
Mm-hmm.
and that wouldn't be a decision on our part.
Right. That's a good point. So I think this covers it.
Okay. Does it still deserve its check mark?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Back over to save. And are we done with that?
Hmm.
Okay. So we're done with procedures, or policies. And here's
Yay.
only 6 minutes after our meeting is over.
So no, our meeting goes till 11:30.
Oh,
So,
okay.
during these months. So obviously this is a good stopping point.
But we
Let
better
me
not.
see our calendar here. We have, what's that, Tom?
I was just going to say, we better go through this before we go through it live with people.
Right,
oth-
obviously.
Other people, I should say.
So we have a subcommittee meeting before the day before our next feedback session, other than the board. So do you want to continue on today with procedures, or do you want to set up another meeting for next week on Friday, before the
Next week
the executive board meeting to go through the procedure part of it?
Next week is bad for me. So you could do it on your own.
Yeah, I
Yes.
don't think so. You would not like that. So I think we're okay going into the executive board with this. They understand we'll be making changes on the fly. Now, Tom, you won't be there for that, but we'll just deal with that. But and we can talk after. But by meeting on May 2nd, I think we should be able to be okay with, which is our next regularly scheduled meeting. It'll be right before our Saturday feedback session. But I think we're good enough, don't you? I mean, I don't think we have to have an absolutely complete document.
No, I think that's fine. And obviously with the executive board's input, we're to be making changes anyway.
Right. So plan on a longer meeting on May 2nd. You'll be back for that, right, Tom?
Yep.
Everybody else will be able to be here on May 2nd.
I
Susan?
will not.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. You'll be in the air. Okay, well, we will make do, and I think we'll be good. I mean, we're going to get feedback in that feedback session. We'll still have Wednesday that's scheduled, and we can always make some adjustments with Wednesday, and then we'll still have feedback session on May 17th. So I think we're good. I really do. And it's not like bylaws that are cast in concrete. I think these are evolving well. So I plan to, well, my sister is actually coming tomorrow, but after she leaves, I'm going to be, or probably while she's here, I'll be trying to flesh out some of this stuff. But I think we're mainly, I really want to tackle the secretary and the communications task force stuff to get that, just so that potential people will have a better idea of what to expect. But I don't know, how are you guys feeling about all of this? I think can you stop sharing, Tom? And I get the sense we're not really ready to dive into the procedure side right now. Am I misreading that?
You're not misreading me.
No.
Okay. Okay. So I think we're in really good shape, particularly since we can always come back and revisit at any membership meeting these policies and procedures. We don't want to do it every time, but
Right.
we can get approval at our special approval meeting in May, if we have something to tweak, we could even do it at a membership meeting for just those changes
Mhm.
Well,
in June.
considering that we've started with a blank page on this stuff,
Mhm.
and think about what we've got so far, I think it's pretty amazing.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I do
true.
too.
I do too.
And that was certainly the feedback we were getting both at our feedback session and in the membership meeting, even though we're not a whole lot of attendees, but everything's been positive. I talked with Guy Siebert earlier this week, and he was very, very positive, just like he was in the meeting, but he went on further and talked further about some of the things that he would have really liked to have had this for before. So I think he's really, really happy. And then Tom Prahodich, I talked with him because it was yesterday, and he was also, he hadn't read it yet, but he just liked, he said, I don't think you guys should feel bad about not having people coming. It just means there's trust. And so that's how we're reading it too. And you know, there are a lot of meetings. So
Does Guy attend the executive board meetings, Nancy?
no, not typically.
Okay.
No, no, really, there's usually at the executive board meetings, it's just the executive board. This time Tom came, which was great because he had comments about the community plan part that we added on at the last
Yeah.
minute. So,
Well, if Guy
But
has
if-
any specific thoughts, I think it'd be great.
If we
mhm,
if we could get him to do the monitoring task force, he would be at the executive board.
right,
Yeah,
right,
there you go.
right,
Yeah.
yeah. And so far he's saying no to that. I've talked with him. I think you talked to him too, Susan, right? And
Mhm.
It might be
he's
he
saying,
has enough meetings and he's
well,
satisfied.
just for the first year to kind of get things off the ground.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's a real treasure. Okay, so I think we're good. I mean, a week from Saturday is the executive board one. Tom, you won't be there, but Susan and Wyatt and Michael, I know what Michael can. You both can be there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
I'm going to
bound.
be in Salt Lake City, so I'm going to be coming in from a hotel room.
Okay.
I've got a grandchild playing volleyball, so
Oh, fun.
Oh,
uh, I think I'll break away. It'll be 11 o'clock there. So
Okay.
okay. Well, thank you. And as long as you can, at least we don't have a committee quorum requirement for that because number one, it's a feedback session, but well, it's actually officially an executive board meeting, so it's their quorum
yeah,
that's required. So I think it'll be a really good discussion. And we've been trying to keep them apprised, but things have gone so
Yeah.
quickly. Yes.
do you
Um,
all have copies of what's been done so far?
they have access. I haven't actually just sent out emails
Shove
with
wood
them
under
because
their
it's
nose?
changing. But yeah, that's a good idea, Wyatt. We've certainly talked about it in the executive board meetings, and I'll send out something after we've got today's meeting with things cleaned up. I can send them
Okay.
ahead of time, but frankly, I think that's kind of what Saturday's meeting's all about, is to kind of go through it with them. We know Mark knows about it quite a bit, and Michael, of course, he's on as parliamentarian, and Susan's on as the outreach task force chair, so she's certainly aware. And
Sounds like you've got a
you know, in terms
majority
of,
already.
I know,
Mhm.
in terms of Alex and Chris and Ran, and you know, Gary is somewhat, but you know, I think it's all going to be new for them. And we don't have that much that affects Chris. I think the donation stuff does, but we got some actual corroboration in the membership meeting that we don't have to take the donate button out yet from Sarah. So that helped in the membership meeting. You know, it came up. I think it was under treasurer's report, and Chris or Gary said something about do we need, or Alex said, do we need to? I guess we heard that we weren't going to be able to have donations through the website, and Sarah said, well, for now, you know, until she gets all the budget stuff clarified, and you know, if we need to have money to do our business, just our regular
Mhm.
business, that's fine. She doesn't want us doing grants. And so that came up when yesterday we were talking via email about being on limits on our emails going out, and there was an error, and we had one email left for the month. And you know, we've talked about, can't we just pay the difference?
Mhm.
And then the question came up about can we? And so I was able to say Sarah actually clarified that. So 3 of us went in and paid for the additional cost to go to 20 emails a month. And let's just get it done, people. I mean, we're hopefully
Yeah.
not going to need to do more than 5 in a typical month, but when we need to send out more a 6th email, we need to be able to do it. So then the community plan little time error got to be changed. So anyway, I think that's it. So any other comments that how are you guys feeling about things? I think we're on the right track. Are you
Yeah.
concerned?
You-
I think the
Mm-mm.
policies are pretty solid.
Mhm.
Hopefully we can do a comb through on the procedures and feel that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it kind of sounds like we have a lot to do at that May 2nd bylaws committee meeting. So we have input back from the executive board, which we will, and go through the policies. So do you want to maybe divide up the policies to review certain ones and come back for the May 2nd meeting with a more thorough review? Could we do that real quick? And then that might help save some time, or do you want to just go ahead and set up another meeting? It's really valuable to hear everybody's input as we go through. We would have to, you're not available, Tom, it sounds like next weekend at all.
Right.
So when would we do it?
What about May 3rd?
Oh, we have a feedback session on May 3rd.
Oh, sorry. I'm looking at something else.
So
May, May 9.
well, it'll be after the feedback session of May 3rd. So I'm wondering if we would have anything that we could do between, and we have to have 7 days notice unless we set up an urgent one. I don't know that anyone cares, but so it would have to be somewhere around the week of the 28th. So we had a feedback session scheduled for the 30th. So that should be on people's calendars unless you've already changed it. Would you like to just have a bylaws committee meeting, subcommittee meeting on May 30th at 7 p.m.? So that would already be on our calendars.
I can't do it. I'm flying.
Okay.
Are you talking May 30 or April 30?
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, April. I'm talking April. I'm so sorry. Thank you. April 30th.
Well, if we've rescinded that meeting, we can't reestablish it. I mean, I think we just go with what we got. We do the best we can.
Oh, we wouldn't reestablish it. We would establish it as about a subcommittee meeting as opposed to a feedback session.
Okay. But we still have to notice it.
We would, and we have time. We just have a 7-day notice. So it would be it would be a session on May 30th in the evening, and then another one that
April
Friday in the
30th.
morning, April 30th. Thank you, and then May 2nd. So Susan, you're not able to come.
No,
And
I could do it on May 1. But,
And I can't.
yeah.
okay. Well, maybe we just try to slog through. What about Tuesday, April 29th? Seems like there's something happening on April 29th. What is it? Oh, I don't have it on the calendar yet. It's the TLT meeting.
Oh,
I thought this is ringing a bell. There's something.
Yeah,
I think we're good.
I think we're just gonna have to slog through what we got.
I think we are. Could you plan to just have it longer on the 2nd? And we will just take as long as we need.
Yeah.
Yep, we
And
can do that.
And I will just notice, plan to have food with you. And if it takes going to 1 o'clock, we'll go to 1 o'clock. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Yep, let's get it done.
Okay.
and I can look
Okay.
through it on my own and let you know if I see anything
Okay.
ahead
Okay.
ahead of that. So
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
yeah.
And I'll do the same. I mean, it really does need a comb through. Well, thank you all very much. Well, we're only at 11:20. We're not too bad. Have no public comment, or we had it already. So action item, Tom will update from what we have today and send out R31 and presentation updated too. Tom, I think I'm going to take your presentations for feedback session 2 and do one for the April 26th executive board special meeting, because you won't be there, right? And
Right. I think,
I'll-
yeah,
I'll-
using what I produce after today's meeting would be
Right.
the ideal thing. And don't
Right.
touch the document, and then I'll just do a diff and
Right.
incorporate any changes.
right. I won't, if I touch the document, I will make another name for it, have change tracking on. I'll accept it and put change tracking on for my stuff. So it's really clear, because sometimes I found it's a little easier to do it that way than to try to make notes. So do you see what I mean? It would come to,
As long as my document doesn't,
your
your
document would
doc-
not be touched. I would
Okay.
not, I mean, it will be like R31 Nancy or R31A or something like
Okay.
that.
fair enough.
I would save it like that. I will never, ever touch your master document. Ever, ever, ever. I promise
Thank
you
you.
that. It would be
Yeah.
saved as a 30, plus you have the original anyway. I would save it, accept all changes, and then change tracking on, and then you would see anything that's new from our meeting.
Okay.
Does that sound fair?
Sounds fair.
And
Okay.
remember that Tom too said that there was a change to the name of the executive director of, was it the water
Yes.
board?
Yes. Yes, it was the water board. 2 months ago.
Yeah,
apparently.
that was since I got the references pulled together.
Right. And that's just gonna be constant. And that's why
Yeah.
that one policy, being able to make changes on the fly, is good.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm sure if you look at the water board stuff, you'll see. I believe he is the only candidate running for the water board. He got his arm twisted. So he is more familiar than, in fact, maybe he was even appointed to a, anyway, and then he's running. Okay, well, thank you. Thank you guys. Please let me know if you have any concerns at all. And I will get busy also. And I hope you have a nice holiday weekend.
Thank you all.
Yes. Happy Easter.
Get
Yes,
well,
and I hope
Trude.
you. I
What's
hope
that?
you feel.
Thank
Get
you.
well.
Yeah,
I
I
hope-
didn't give you my cold there. 'Cause,
No,
you
I
know,
had
we
a
were-
I had a voice yesterday.
well, last meeting I was sounding probably better than you actually.
Mhm,
It sounds like it's going around. Well,
Yeah.
mhm.
yeah. Well, safe travels, Susan. Hope you feel
Thank
better
you.
shortly.
Yes.
Okay. Meeting adjourned at 11:23. I'm going to stop recording and see you guys soon, I'm sure.
Okay,
Yeah.
Nancy.
Awesome.